Hello, amazing entrepreneurs, and welcome to today's video/tutorial. I'm super excited because in this video, I'm going to share with you one of my absolute favorite tools for my e-commerce business, which is PickFu. So in this video, I'll be covering what exactly PickFu is, actually diving in and showing you a tutorial on how to set up your first PickFu poll and sort of how it works, and then also share the results of a recent PickFu survey that I ran so you can see the entire process and see why I call PickFu my top secret weapon. And if you like the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments along the way, let me know in the comment section below. And if you'd like to see more case studies and tutorials like this to ultimately improve your e-commerce business, then be sure to hit the subscribe button. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get to it. So first, PickFu is essentially a survey distribution platform specifically for e-commerce. So it sounds really fancy, but really all it is you have a question in your mind. This question could be, I have two options for a main image. Which main image is better? Maybe you're developing a product and you're like, hey, I know that there's opportunity and demand in this niche. However, what should my design look like? What do people actually want? Or how do I know people are actually going to buy this after I spend thousands of dollars sourcing this product and launching this product? So all of those questions and more can be answered through PickFu, which is extremely powerful. So instead of just relying on your own estimations or your own guessing, you can get data-backed responses to specific questions that you ask. But the best way for you to see how it works is for me to actually show you. So let's go ahead and dive into creating our first poll in PickFu. So go to pickfu.com, create a free account, and then once you're there, what you'll do is go up here to start a new poll. So click on start a new poll. And you will only get charged when you create a new poll. So I recommend getting started with use poll builder. So step one, choosing your industry. So e-commerce. Next, what do we want to test? This is a great example of all the different things you can test. So for example, maybe different ads for sponsored display or sponsored brand advertising on Amazon or for Facebook ads, right? An entire product listing, images, product description, also enhanced brand content, product packaging, product design, etc. And what I like to use the most personally is right here, main image, and then these two, product concept and product design, which can kind of be intertwined a little bit. So in this case, I'm going to do product design. All right. Next, we're going to write your question. So what's great is PickFu will actually kind of give you some predetermined questions that you can ask. So I would rely on this. It is very important how you ask a question. So I used to conduct market research for companies like Adidas or Adidas, Nike, Procter & Gamble, Cow, and other product-based companies. So it's very, very important. And in general, I would recommend keeping your kind of question as short as possible. Keep it very, very succinct. The longer your question is, like if you fill up with 255 characters, it's very likely that your participants aren't going to read through everything and leave some things out and actually get kind of complicated. So try to be very, very narrow and focused with each poll that you run. Don't try to cram a bunch of stuff in at once. It's ultimately going to skew the data and it's actually going to dirty up the data and it's not going to be any good. So focus on one thing. Then we go ahead and click on next step. Here, we're going to add our different images because we're testing product design. So if there's images that are relevant, you can upload those. If not, then you won't. But you could even upload like different text. So you could take a screenshot of one of your competitors' bullet points, maybe a screenshot of your own that you create. So a lot of things that you can do here with the images. And you see two options here. You can actually upload multiple. And I believe right now you can upload up to 8. So the more that you upload, the more it will cost because there's kind of more that's going on there. So it can be as big, as wide, or as small as you want it to be. If it's a main image, I usually like to do maybe 2 or 3. For testing a product design or product concept, I usually go more toward like that maybe 5 to 7 range, but I usually stay under 8. So you'll upload your images there. Head down to the next step. Here, we can either have a very general audience of US respondents, or we can create more of a custom audience and really narrow down. So obviously general audience is going to be the cheaper option and you're going to get kind of more broad data. For custom audience, I'll show you some of the options here. And this is constantly being updated. But you see here's some popular targeting traits for e-commerce. We have daily, supplement users, dog owners, Prime members, frequent exercisers. But here, I'm just going to quickly run through. You can segment on age, Prime membership, which we already mentioned, audiobook, beer consumption, cat ownership, coffee, credit score, cryptocurrency investing, education level, do they use eBay, do they use Etsy, etc. And kind of scroll down here just to kind of show you. But really quite a lot of very, very helpful segments that we can target. And another quick caveat to this is what some of you might be thinking, something that I've actually tested as well, is I thought, could I use a tool other than PickFu and get results better, cheaper, faster, all of that, right? I use a platform called Amazon Mechanical Turk. So Amazon actually has this survey distribution software that a lot of people don't know about called Mechanical Turk. A little bit ugly, very difficult to kind of use for your first time, but I've used it obviously in the past for my market research projects. And I ran a test basically with PickFu and then also with Mechanical Turk and looked at the responses. And I can tell you definitively, hands down, using Mechanical Turk is cheaper than using PickFu, but the responses are also cheaper and, in my opinion, garbage compared to PickFu. PickFu really prides themselves, and I don't know the entire process they go through, but I can see in the results that they're very selective in the respondents that they choose. If you want to run on your own, just kind of keep that in mind, that the quality of the participant is also extremely important, because people can literally randomly click on an option, give a generic, like, which design is your favorite? They choose design C, and then say, I like this design as their response. Just garbage, right? They just randomly, because they want to get like the payout of like the $1 or $2 or whatever they get paid for taking the survey. So they don't really put effort into it. So just a side note of very, very important. Right now, it's just US targeting, though that might increase in the future. Next, we're going to choose our audience size. Right now, you can do 50, 100, 200, or 500. Personally, I would never, ever, ever use 50, okay? Why is that? Because I've run tests where design A was the winner when I had 50 respondents, but then I, send the same survey out to another 100, and the 100 had a different favorite, right? And why is the reason for that? Well, because 100 is kind of this point that is more statistically significant than 50. So you want to have at least 100 responses. So the more that you choose, obviously the more expensive it gets. So I'm going to click 100 here, and you can see the total due already is 130 based on our current targeting, okay? So like I said, I would choose between 100 and 200. Personally, 50 is way too low. In my opinion, you're going to waste your money because you're going to spend on 50 responses, and you don't know if that 50 is statistically significant. On the other side of that, what you could do is maybe, hey, in one test, you run 50 to all male audience, and you run another separate test to 50 female, and you kind of aggregate or combine those results together. That could be worth it. But again, that's basically 100. So usually you want to stick with 100 to 200. For me, 100 is plenty. If you want to really get some more statistically significant data than 200, personally, I think 500 is a little bit overkill unless you have the budget. So we'll stick with the 100. Next, to know more about our respondents. So basically, as information is collected, we can kind of select all or none of these options to segment by. So for example, right now for free, once we get our responses back, we can kind of slice and dice the data if we want to see, okay, how did women respond? What were their favorite versus men's favorite? What was this age range? What did they like better? So you can choose travel frequency, exercise frequency, interested in cooking, etc. So of course, unless it's extremely important to my study, which is going to vary depending on what product you sell and what you're using this for, I usually keep the free. Really up to you. Next, we have additional add-ons. So you can make your poll public and basically get $5 off. So if you're comfortable doing that, feel free. Also, make sure you select this. It's free to where you're able to download your data that you can access at any time in the future. And then the last step is you'll just kind of review everything, just restating what you've already done and what you've chosen, your total price point, make sure everything looks good, click on that button, and then proceed to checkout, and that's when you'll actually pay. My total price usually comes between $200 to $300, right? So that's usually the price point that I'm looking at. And by the way, that $200 to $300 that I spend, my ROI from that is insane. Like I said, for me, I literally have data that none of my competitors have because they're all relying on the same tools in the same ways as everyone else. This gives me an advantage over everyone else. I know exactly what designs my audience likes. I know what they like and dislike most about existing product options. I know which images they like the best and want to see it, and so much more. So not only does it make or break my total, thousands of dollars of investment, it also helps me generate more profit. So not just pass or fail, but also that product that's successful makes it wildly successful. And I'm excited to share more results about that in the future as they continue to kind of come in. Once you submit your poll, usually within less than 24 hours, and as soon as even just a few hours, you will get all of your responses back. And then from that point, once your responses come in, you can go through and kind of dive into the data a little bit and see some really cool, interesting trends that come out. So before I do that, to make this a little bit fun and to show you the power of PickFu, go ahead and really quickly look at the few logos that I'm about to share with you and comment below which logo is your favorite. So first, we have logo A, which you've already looked at. logo B, logo C, logo D, all right, and lastly, logo E. Now comment below in which one you think won, and once you've done that, we'll go ahead and look at the results, which are option E was the winner. So let me know if you were correct or not. And how this works is, like I showed you before, basically uploaded these different logos that we had, or logo ideas, to PickFu to see which resonates better overall and why, what was the reasoning behind that. And how this works with the respondents is they will rank which option they like from basically from the most to the least. Okay, so that's why we had, in this case, just for this example, we use 50. Otherwise, like I said, I'd like to use 100. And maybe the results very well may have been different using 100, as I've seen many times. But this is just for an example. So we ran it to 50, just general in the US. And because it was 50 people choosing and ranking from kind of most to least, that's why each of these have a different score. So the highest score here is 56. This means the most people rank this number 1. This one is ranked basically number 2 with 44. Then we have number 3 here with 30. Number 4 here with 22. And then lastly, number 5 with 16. Sometimes you'll use the tool and find out that, what your favorite option or the favorite design that you had, that's exactly what your audience prefers. However, you never really know. So you don't know what you don't know. It's always worth testing, especially when you're putting thousands of dollars into investing in a new product, right? Just in my opinion. So as we go through here, what we can do first is just look at the raw results here. We can also, if we go here to the top right, we can download these results in CSV like we already did before, okay? But before we do that, we can actually go ahead and filter. So I'm gonna click on the all filters. And here you can see that we can actually specifically choose specific age range. So, for 25 to 34-year-olds, what was their favorite logo versus 35 to 44-year-olds, right? We can see, male versus female, race or ethnic identity, education level, income range, etc. So first you can use the filters, or you don't need to use the filters. You can just look at the data overall. So I'm gonna hit close filters. Then I'm gonna go ahead and look, we have 10 responses for option A. So as you can see here, this respondent number 5, chose A as their first favorite, then B, then D, then E, then C, right? And they give their reasoning for why that is the case, right? And you just kind of quickly browse through and read through some of these. It's definitely worth the time, and it'll actually go much faster than you think. And what's really cool is as you're reading through these results, you're gonna see certain things come up constantly that you would have never thought about. An example that Bradley Sutton gave, and this wasn't specifically for PickFu, but it works the exact same, is that he was doing some work with a collagen supplement. So it was a supplement product. And through kind of reading through some research, he found that a lot of the audience was taking the supplement with their morning coffee. Literally the word morning coffee was this extremely common, frequent phrase. And it's like, oh my gosh, I would have never thought about this or seen this in keyword research, because no one's typing in collagen supplement with my morning coffee or with morning coffee, or what supplement goes well with morning coffee. It's just something they happen to do. So guess what? So we know, okay, people are taking this with their morning coffee. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna have a bullet point that says, hey, goes great with your morning coffee. I'm going to have a lifestyle image of the collagen supplement next to a cup of coffee, and I'd have to do a little bit more digging of, okay, what type of coffee does that look like? Are they grinding this at home? Are they going to Starbucks and getting a cup of coffee like that? So my images, my enhanced brand content, my copy are all going to include that, and these are all insights that your competitors have no idea. And if you are interested in using PickFu, if you use the code Sumner at checkout, you'll get 50% off your first PickFu poll. So use code SUMNER at checkout. I also have a link in the description section. Again, if you're interested, it is an affiliate link, so keep in mind, I do get a kickback from PickFu for anyone who kind of uses the tool from my referral. But I've also spent a lot more, and likely will spend a lot more on PickFu than whatever I make back, but whatever, it's totally fine because it's an extremely powerful tool. I'm planning on making some more quantitative result videos about my PickFu experience, meaning, hey, here's how much I invested in PickFu, and here's the actual kind of, result specifically that I gained from it. In the future, still kind of waiting for some more data to come in, but if you're interested in those future kind of case studies and other tutorials, be sure to subscribe here because you're gonna find content that you're not gonna find anywhere else, and really hope you enjoyed and found this video valuable. If you did, hit the like button, comment below with any questions that you have, and as always, thanks so much for watching. God bless, and look forward to seeing you in future videos.